pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have a quorum. For now, we'll start off with the consent agenda. Anything you want to hold or adjust or edit?
I don't think so. The only thing that's extra for this meeting is the job description updates. And those just seem to be clarifications. We had both the marked up version and the ending description, and that looked pretty straightforward, so I didn't have any.
Nothing substantial.
No, nothing substantial.
Both of those were existing job descriptions, just cleaning them up a little bit, getting them more accurate to how business is actually done.
Yeah, so I move we adopt the consent agenda.
I will second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
It's a weird thing, but yeah. In case you have change your mind. I'll go 2 minutes here. Yep. Okay, we got department head reports, first township assistants.
You have two?
Yeah, there's one.
Sorry. Sorry.
Good afternoon. Township assistance has been just busy as ever. Doesn't seem like things are slowing down or have any trend of slowing down. The numbers are on there today. The only thing that's not included is that last bill for the transportation grant that we just received that was paid in November, so I'm sure on November.
Okay. Any questions for Ashley? No. Human resources.
Again, human resources was busy as ever. We had an exciting couple weeks of open enrollment. We got everyone done and through the process, so we're excited about that. We have a few terminations and resignations, some firefighter recruit, facility staff, extended care, and then our parks marketing director. We also did some onboarding of a paramedic, 4 firefighters, facility staff, and 4 extended care counselors. Any questions on human resources?
Okay, thank you. Parks.
All right, I'll go ahead and get started. We are right now redefining our marketing for the end of the year for Murphy Park. We really want to try and do a big emphasis and a big push on buying season passes. We have a Black Friday sale that's coming up, but then we're also pushing some discounts on booking your parties early and getting your birthday parties booked early. And then we plan to do some flash sales, just like we did last year. We saw a big uptick in our purchasing when we did like the random flash sales that we've done. So really trying to market Murphy and still have, even though we're in our winter months, still getting to think about Murphy and staying on that topic, just to round out the end of the year. Next, with the Peacock Park and our Nature Center, the biggest thing that happened in the month of October is we finally got our glow-in-the-dark laboratory open. This has been a big project for the department that we've done completely in-house. We got a grant from the Parks Foundation of Hendricks County, and it's been very exciting. We learned a lot from this. In the Glow Lab, we are teaching about the 3 different essences in nature: bioluminescence, photoluminescence, and triboluminescence, and what that means in nature. We also have a big display for Indiana's insect, which is the firefly. And then we also added a lot of new insects and animals to teach about bioluminescence. We also learned a lot about 3D printing. So we 3D printed most of the animal hides and the water dishes. And then we also 3D printed life-size models of some of the bugs so that kids could really get firsthand and touch the different bugs and see kind of how they move, how they work. We also were able to 3D print different mushrooms since they're really hard to grow. And then we have different rocks that glow as well. And so we opened that up to trick-or-treating at the Glow Lab, and it was very successful. We had a lot of kids there. It took a lot of time to build it, but it was everything just to see the kids' faces when they walked into the room, just to see all the things blowing up. I do want to give special recognitions to Maddie Fuquay, which is our recreation coordinator. She actually painted all of the murals inside of the Glow Lab, which if you've never worked with neon paint before, it was very difficult. She had to paint everything white before she painted everything neon. So it was really neat to see, and it was kind of a group effort. So that was really exciting for the department. And then coming soon, we'll be redoing the library that's at the Nature Center. So right now the library is kind of tucked away by the restroom area. Since we were able to redo a lot of the enclosures, we're bringing the library out, doing a bigger push on the education and getting people to kind of sit and read. So we have children's books that teach about different things in nature. So next will be coming the library at the Nature Center. And then when we move on to programming, we finished our biggest event of the year, which is Ghosts and Goblins. We had a really beautiful day and saw a lot of people come through that day. I know Steve had a booth there as well. And so it was great to see everyone come back. But now we are in full swing of Christmas. And so in fact, tomorrow the department's getting together to decorate the Millennium Center, because that's where the majority of our Christmas events will be. So the whole place is turning into Christmas already. And we're excited to finish some of those Christmas events that we have coming up. Next, we have youth services. We had a very successful fall break camp. We ended up maxing out both weeks for fall break camp, and we ended up with great weather that week, so we were able to keep the kids outside. Then EEC, we're doing very well with our staff retention. We still have a couple staff members that we're going to hire on for this next month, but that's only because our numbers are so much better than they were last year. And then we have been working with the schools. The school is redistricting and changing their hours, so they've been communicating really well with us so that we can prepare for what that looks like next year, and we can adjust accordingly and start talking to our staff and sending out surveys to our parents as well. So we always appreciate that communication. And then as far as our capital projects are going, I don't know if you've driven down to the Lower Hamilton Park lately, but we've already started on the Explorer Barn. It's vertical, and they're going to be pouring the concrete this week, which is great since it's going to start getting really cold here soon. So once that's in, we can start doing all the build outs, and our maintenance staff is doing the build outs of the different rooms inside of there, like the break room, some storage area. They're doing that all themselves. And so we are hoping to be able to open that in the spring. Any questions?
Not on that. I finished your report.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to thank you and the staff, particularly Chris. I'm a member of the Avon Rotary. We had a memorial service. We planted 2 trees at the park, and they took care of making sure that whole event that we had, the memorial service was all taken care of, and we sincerely appreciate that. So we thank your staff, like I said, specifically Chris.
I'll let him say.
So call him out for that.
I will.
And okay, and then the other comments you've already talked about. That was about the progress of the barn.
Yes. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
I was going to mention, if you haven't made your way out to Picard yet to see some of the changes, some of the other enclosures have been modified and updated a little bit as well. But really, that Glow Lab is worth visiting. A lot of really cool insects and fish and bugs, and it's kind of weird when you think about walking voluntarily into a dark room with a bunch of creepy crawly creatures, but really they are cool. The work they've done with the black lights and to see the different animals and how they react to the black light is really pretty cool. And the nerd in me really appreciate their work because it's not something that we get to see here locally. You know, we don't have scorpions native to Central Indiana, so to be able to go in there with a black light flashlight, see how they light up pretty neat stuff. So
And Ryan and I kind of got to nerd out about the 3D printing.
we
too, so
did,
that was
we did go down a whole path about 3D printers. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, fire.
You should know about that, it's gonna burn.
Did you guys use a 3D printer for that new ladder truck or?
We did. The prototype, it all holds up. We printed it with sugar. It's gonna be good underwater, it tastes delicious. So on ours, as we get to the back, the first sentence up there says that our mutual aid reports will be updated soon. We had some issues with the ESO program. Once that gets rectified, we'll make sure that you have it updated. We'll do both months for our mutual aid was. I'm assuming we gave a lot and received less, which is fine. We're just in the middle of the county, right? So that's normal. We've had some discussions with some neighboring departments about that recently. Some registry changes they made. We'll see if those get rectified in the next week or so. Chief Porter's been talking to their ops chief, and then we'll let them be talking to their fire chief. And well, the trustee got involved in his position on the oversight or whatever committee, advisory board for dispatch. So anyway, mutual aid is always a hot topic, but again, part of what we do, and we're located as such, we're going to provide more than we get, and that's just how that works. On the happier news, 3 bullet points. Station 143 was presented to and accepted by the Township board as far as the builder. Station 145 finally got approved by the Vermont Planning Commission after 3 previous months of meetings. So we're a little bit behind the 8 ball on what we anticipated starting versus where we are, but bottom line is we're starting. 3s right now, you'll see the dumpster out there. You walk through the inside, and I encourage you to go out if you want to throw on a hard hat and go visit. It's a war zone, so they're taking care of it. Already got the beds in the bunks part upstairs. They've got a floor cut out on the inside of the bay, the gear rooms, and everything's moving along pretty quickly for this being the first real day out there. We also put BC 140 in service. The old BC is now the backup. We thought that was going to be a little bit of a 911 emergency and need a complete overhaul, and a lot of money sunk into it. Turns out it wasn't that deep. I forget what the issue was. What was the actual issue? No, Chief Buster. No, either way, it was dollars and cents over what we thought might need. So it's good and in good shape. And so that'll be our backup, and we're going to decide what to do with the previous backup BC. We've cut our fleet of pool cars down quite a bit, so we might need a pool car. We will see. If not, we may end up putting it out to a neighboring department here in the county. Again, appreciative of the township support of our needed growth and remodel needs. It's moving. We do plan on doing groundbreaking for Station 145. We got to get some final paperwork taken care of with that. And then that'll be on Garmon. They'll plan the whole thing out. They've been given the logistics of it. They'll just pick a couple dates and times and communicate that to everyone. Fire training, we are -1 from the beginning. We replaced it with a lateral to complement the other 4 that we just brought in at the end of this last month. The next lateral to take the place of the resigned firefighter will start November 25th, tentatively. Right now, our recruits just ended up combat week. They had 22 fires in 4 days, where they performed engine ops, ladder ops, and various rescue tasks as a culmination of their skills that they've studied to date. So what that also means is after the combat week, as Chief Porter is sitting before you, medium well, kind of cooked up. So he sits in there and controls a lot of the fires and watches, from operations standpoint, as everybody comes in, and the training chief and other instructors make sure they're coaching them up along the way. So he controls the fire and watches the extinguishment, gets a bird's eye view, and sometimes falls victim of their shortcomings because he's sitting in the hottest seat in the place. So he comes out smoking from those fires once in a while, and after 22 of them, I'm pretty sure it takes a toll on you. So appreciate your work on that. It's always fun to get out of the office and go play again. One of the unique things we had last sentence of fire training is the 4 laterals we started. They were able to go out and train with the recruits. So it's always fun to kind of watch experienced people go alongside new people and see which one performs better. One's just learning it, so they're trying not to make mistakes. The other guy's going in trying to make an impression, being new. It ends up being a wash as far as performance, but it's always fun to watch the competition and kind of kind of see how it evolves throughout the day. So they had the unique opportunity to come into our department, go to a few days of intensive training and learn what we do and get a crash course in it. So pretty happy with the laterals we got to date. And we did get 4 new, potentially 5 new, very good ones, 3 from Terre Haute, 1 from Crawfordsville, and the next one coming from Greencastle. So EMS, a civilian medic return. So instead of talking about people who've left, we have a saying that I won't go into, but it's T-safe, right? So we'll appropriately determine that this stuff's not for everyone, right? This stuff ain't for everyone. So, but the thing is, in recruit classes where you find it, and we have to acknowledge it and move on, or let them move on, and not try to talk people into staying if it's not something they want. And oftentimes in the fire service, especially in our county, we fall victim to ourselves by trying to salvage people versus appropriately let them go so we can move forward. But again, Casey Webb on the civilian paramedic side came back. She had left just a few months ago, decided that wasn't for her. And she came back, and, we welcomed that. And a lot of people on the department question that. Sometimes you have resignation or termination, they're not coming back, at least not under our watch. But others are ending, and they leave under good terms, and Casey was one of those. And, we didn't want her to leave. She had a lot of things to say on the way out the door, and we left that door open for her to come back, and she did. So, again, a positive return, a positive contributor. And she had to talk with Chief Weininger and said she do her due diligence to try to stick around a little bit longer this time. But she does have aspirations to get into management. She wants to first grow as a medic and experience all the other areas of paramedicine, especially on the 911 side. The department completed the Bright TLS, the International Trauma Life Support, to obtain the certification there. We also got new EMS bags, drug boxes, and hand heavy bags. Chief Weininger doesn't sit still for long. Some of these things were bought prior to her coming in, but they weren't appropriate for her vision and operation, and not necessarily what the medics I think wanted per se, what we got the first time. So they were big, bulky, they were hard to move around, and sometimes having things broken up for certain types of runs is a little more ideal and a little easier to operate. And she's worked with her medics, everything's labeled clearly, so we can all go in and grab what we need. Nice big letters, so we're less likely without classes to make a mistake. And then the hand heavy bags, that complements our hand heavy application for pediatric care, allows for organized efficient care of pediatric patients. So again, a purpose behind everything we do, not just being wasteful, but sometimes when you inherit someone else's vision, you have to make it your own, and that's what Chief Weininger did. So you may have seen that purchase in the last few years more than once. We are changing billing companies effective 11/1. We're going to EMSMC. It's our new billing company, and we're receiving a reduced rate by over a point. We're also in the process of changing collections agencies as well. We'll probably see a 5% decrease in the rate we pay there over what we're currently paying. And they're going to be separate companies. So people are going to work for their money instead of letting them evolve over into collections. Wasn't a fan of the other process. So we will be presenting a PowerPoint in the next meeting. I'll probably have Chief Weininger do it once we sit through and look at it, approve it. She's putting together a presentation for staff right now. We're going to look into some new rates. It'll be comparable to places around us, but there's been some changes in Medicare and Medicaid. We want to make sure we're competitive. And we want to more clearly define how we're going to do business. Right now, I have resident and non-resident. That can be a little confusing on what that means. And then it's also things we have to decipher with different zip codes that we have in our area, right? So there's some zip codes that we have to decipher, and others a billing company has to decipher. We want to streamline some of that. We'll just have one rate for the different services we provide. So moving over to inspections and investigation division, we're pushing the 200 mark again on plan reviews and inspections and site reviews. We're hitting about 43,000 in revenue so far, so that was pushing the $100,000 mark in revenues. That's going to be done for a while. I mean, unless they're going to build some big warehouses, big buildings, that's not a revenue stream we can always count on to be a high producer, but it's going to have some flows now. But I think for a few years it was consistent during the height of growth, hitting that $100,000 mark, and now we're probably going to be living in the $30,000 to $50,000 mark for a while. Pub Ed, we're happy with Go Ahead and their outreach. You can see the charts there, go through that on your own. Courtney stays fairly busy on that, trying to transition a little more toward the PIO. She's been working hard to try to cover a lot of the events of the recruit class, to have an appropriate video and photograph memories for that. Looking at bringing a volunteer department photographer on to start capturing a little bit of our history. We've let that go. There's not a lot of history to find as you walk around here. That's a big deal in the fire service, and those memories, especially now we've gone digital, they're easier to just disappear on somebody's phone. And we need to start getting things into an archive here. And that's another vision we're going to start that'll be cost neutral. It shouldn't have any expense to it at all. Over on the runs, 726 for the month. Like I said, we'll update mutual aid, our average first response, average turnout time, plus or minus a few seconds from the past. We're very much there. We are 248 runs over. Last year, this time was 6,964. And right now we have C shift leading the way on runs, followed by A shift and B shift. So with our remodel, we will have an engine temporarily at Station 1. They're living as one big happy family there with 2 medics, a ladder truck, and an engine. Danville's aware, we've communicated with them. We may have to lead response west somewhat. They're going to be coming from right on the drag strip of 36. Still easy to reach out to the coverage area. We covered half of that original response time already with appropriate response times. Plainfield's also been made aware, and we've talked to their operations. So everybody knows what's going on during the remodel. And again, we're still serving that west part of our district, but there will be some delays as we go southwest, but Plainfield's aware of those and they will come north.
On 36, there's not a huge delay. The distance from south of 36 to 36 versus from Station 1 to 525 is about the same amount of time frame, very close. So it's not as impactful as one would think.
And you'll talk about training.
Yeah.
And the expected completion time is end of January, 1st of February. Is that
Probably mid to late February. So we worked with Mr. Bellamy on some of that, and as we put in a contingency as far as, I don't know if contingency is the right word, more like penalty, I guess, right? For not completing on time.
We have staged completion.
Yeah.
Where if we don't get it back to operate, and they've got 30-day grace, there's $500 penalty
Per
day. And then there is subsequent delay or subsequent final completion, which also has 30 days of grace. And it was my understanding that the vendor was a little concerned that like certain cabinetry wouldn't be available. And once we started having conversations, it's like, he can run a conversation with that cabinet, but we do need to get back online as timely as possible. So it worked out well that way.
Yeah, so that way it pushed them to a deadline that they originally agreed to. However, we were a little delayed in getting things moving forward because I just think there was some oversight on our part as far as the process. Coming back for you and saying we selected a vendor and getting the contract out, and once we pushed it a little later, they weren't as comfortable with their original completion date, but that was a non-negotiable. So we put some times in, and then they moved the whole timeline to protect themselves. And we're like, nope, this is the drop dead date. We gotta have houses, we gotta have beds and showers for people. So yeah, we came to some agreements on that. So everything we came to was with the builder in the office, and then it was Bellamy, and he helped us craft it the right way in stages.
Any questions? Very good, thank you. Okay, next up, we got old business, Washington Township Transportation.
So we talked about this in a meeting previously, just about the ongoing expense of the Washington Township Transportation. This was a trial program that started at the very beginning of my term in office, an idea from the previous trustee and administration. Talking with Marina at Senior Services, she obviously knows better than all of us the expense of operating a transportation program. And although we all wanted to see the transportation program continue, the dollar average that we're getting per ride just isn't able to continue, at least in my opinion. I've talked with both of you individually offline, and I think we share some of those same sentiments. And it really just comes down to the limited township assistance funds we have available and the number of people that we can reach. And I know that is my concern. Certainly want to have that conversation with the two of you. I expressed to Marina that we are going to be looking at some different options on how we can continue to work with senior services into the future. Before this transportation program, we helped support them through some township assistance monies that were available, just like we helped some of the other different groups around our area. I want to continue that. We have a great working relationship with senior services, so I don't want that to go away. But at the same time, I don't think that, again, in my opinion, we can continue to support just the overall cost of the transportation program as it is right now today. So again, certainly want to bring that to you. I did express to Marina that we would be having this conversation, but it was my opinion that at the end of this year we were going to be discontinuing the transportation program moving forward, unless of course the board has different plans, different ideas on maybe some options that were available. But that's where I stood with this program as a whole.
I can't argue the cost of the program. I hate to see it go. It was a good idea. It was the goal was, I think, good. The execution just didn't materialize like I was hoping it would. And
well, and being the sole funding source for that program, as you all have seen, just the cost per ride is exponential. And
economically, I have no doubts.
if there were other grants, if there were other funding sources, maybe we'd be having a different conversation. But being the sole provider of those funds makes it difficult for a single township to try to maintain that program.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that.
Yeah, that's where I'm getting from as well. I mean, I think those dollars that we have, it's a limited resource that can impact so many other people, that it could go a lot further. Whether it's food insufficiency, whatever it is, I just think there's that opportunity. Yeah, I wanted it to be, I was a big proponent for it, but just, I just think it's a challenge, unfortunate, but we took the trial and it just doesn't make fiscal sense. So.
Well, with that, at the conclusion of the program, based on the agreement we had with senior services before, we will be taking over ownership of the transportation van again. So once we have satisfied our agreement with senior services, we will eventually get that vehicle back. I'll be coming back to you as the board to discuss options on what's going to happen with that van moving forward. Got a couple of different thoughts or ideas that are floating around out there, but we haven't had any significant conversations as of yet. I wanted to make sure we had this discussion. I don't want to talk about getting rid of a van for a program that you might want to still continue. So now that we've had this discussion here, I will reach out to Marina. We'll have some more conversation there with senior services. Again, once we satisfy the program as it sits to the end of this year, as we get into the beginning of next year, we'll revisit this again, discuss some options, and hopefully find a good avenue on what happens with that vehicle. In a perfect world, it will stay here, at least locally, maybe serve another purpose, but it's too early to say what's going to happen there.
Okay.
But it won't be the last time that this shows up on our agenda, that's for sure.
Sounds good. New business, we got the resolution 111224-01 2025 holiday schedule.
Yes, the 2025 holiday schedule is going to look very, very familiar to the 2024 holiday schedule. There are no additions or removals from any of the holidays listed on this schedule. You may also note typically we would have the 2025 meeting schedule on the same agenda. We're pushing that until December. We wanted to wait until the conclusion of the election, so that way we could try to get our new board member involved in the conversation for what the meetings would look like for next year. So that's why you're only seeing the holiday schedule. You should anticipate the meeting schedule being on the December agenda for us next month. So.
I think the only thing that we've got to make sure that we have definitely worked out for that is the organization meeting, which is a very quick turnaround in
Set by
January.
statute, yeah.
Which is what, the first Tuesday, correct?
Yeah, it's at the,
So, yeah, that'll be early January.
the first Tuesday after the first Monday of the new year, some bizarre wording that. Yeah. Very specific, yeah.
Okay.
All right. I move we adopt resolution 111224-01, the 2025 holiday schedule.
I will second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so any public comment or wishes to be heard?
Wish to be heard. Rich Lau, 1848 Carlton Boulevard, also a member of the fire department and the union secretary treasurer. Want to thank Steve. This is his second to last meeting. Thank him for the last, I believe, 3 terms for all the hard work he's done and kind of kept us in the right direction. And I think a lot of us didn't quite agree with Don's plan back then, but it definitely has led to fruition now. Happy to see you guys and kept us on course. Pretty impressive that we went from having to borrow money every year to paying cash for apparatus in the future. So congratulations for your direction on that, and congratulations to Shane and Dave for both getting elected. I'd like to think we had a lot to do with it, and I think maybe we had a little bit. We're being told that we affected about 10%. I don't think that 10% was there this time compared to the May election, but I think that's being out there definitely gets people's attention. So I look forward to helping out again in the future. Just hit knock on our doors for any needs.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other public comment or wish to be heard? Okay, we just need a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
I will second that. We are adjourned at 3:35. We'll be again December 19th at 3 o'clock right here. Thanks so much.